The one other thing I think to talk about in trains is that it will take 3 years of a demonstration project showing that there is the demand, the ridership.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is that there is not even the funding for the demonstration project, which requires that some of the rail work be repaired and fixed. Is that correct?
That's correct. SEMCOG has had a plan to have a demonstration project started, and it was going to start in the fall of this year, but I understand that that will not be happening. There hasn't been funding for that. And so we are in a position of not having a way to even test the concept of having commuter train available in Ann Arbor. We don't know when that could happen.
Right. And so the other question is, train and this huge parking garage, how do they kind of fit together? Why do they need to be put together? That's a question I'm asking. Do you have an answer? Do you know why?
Well, I mean, it's, I think that the developers of this project, you know, U of M and the city, you know, are using those two issues. I think they're saying, you know, here's a parking structure, but here's a new depot. Here's your you know, your commuter rail. You know, so it made appearances like the main thing of doing this. And you know, I have to mention though, in terms of what they're doing to make these things allowable, step by step, things that were made issues in the reports that their own, you know, that
yes.
their own consultants put together. They said, well, you got to change, make sure that the zoning use is changed.
How about we get that? Just if you can, we'll get to that. But I just wanted to address this issue of how it kind of fits together, this huge parking deck and this train, because people are supposed to be coming into town. So I'm just asking, how does it fit?
Well, I would say that it doesn't fit. That if someone was entering town by train, they ordinarily would not be parking a car. So, for instance, if someone came here from Chicago, they wouldn't have a car with them on the train to park in the parking structure. They would be arriving and then taking some form of transportation from a train depot to someplace in town, or continuing on the train elsewhere. But given that, they wouldn't be parking anything here in terms of coming to town. If someone leaves town on the train to go somewhere, they would park their car. But every piece of information that I've heard discussed in meetings by the city says that there's no anticipated need for more than 200 or 250 parking spaces for those commuters who leave town and go elsewhere on trains here in Ann Arbor. And so therefore to have a structure that would hold 1,000 people seems excessive to me. Yeah, 1,000 cars, right, I'm sorry.
Right, and with the other thing, could you address the issue of the change in the use? Because now this parking lot has different hours of use than are anticipated for the parking garage, and so the anticipated traffic on Fuller will greatly increase. What is the anticipated change in use?
It's currently being used for one shift of work at the hospital. So it's a daytime shift, so I think it's from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. that it's used by hospital or other university employees. And then it's made available to members of the community who might be coming to Fuller Pool or play soccer at the soccer fields that are on the same side of Fuller Road as this particular place. The change is that if there becomes a huge parking structure there, the plan is to have it being used 24/7, 365 days a year for multiple shifts of people who work at the medical center, so that the actual potential volume on that street, in that area, in that structure is 1,000 times the number of shifts.